There are many wondrous creatures that inhabit this earth, so many of which go unseen by all but a lucky few. The invader, or Homo trihardis, is a species known by many, but understood and seen by very few. In this new BBC documentary, we have been lucky enough to follow and gain footage of invaders in their natural habitat, so as to shine a light on their day-to-day lives and their ever-constant fight for survival. Come with me now as we dive into the Red Planet. Throughout its life, an invader's main diet will consist of another species of player, Homo casualis, or, as they are more often known, the common casual. Their prey live a life at the bottom of the food chain. They have drawn the evolutionary short straw, if you will. They are bottom feeders and scavengers whose continued survival in this world is attributed to their ability to travel in what are known as a swarm, or gang of casuals. If it wasn't for this lucky evolutionary quirk, Homo casualis would be all but extinct, and by extension, so would the invader. So in order for an invader to obtain its next meal, it must pick out the weakest casual of the pack to kill first, and it is only then when an invader can feast in peace on the pale tongues of the casual host. Through the making of this documentary, we have learned many things of the invader species. Many facts have now come to light which fly in the face of previously understood knowledge. Such is the way of science. We never assume we know everything, and no matter how sure we are of something. For example, it was a widely accepted fact that the survival of the invader species was being put at risk by the casual's ability to swarm to protect themselves. However, it is now understood that invaders will oftentimes seek out larger groups of casuals to feast on. Undeterred by the prospect of overwhelming numbers and defeat, the invader appears only to become emboldened and will fight with double the ferocity so it is able to feed. This footage of this encounter only last week. The casual prey, unwilling to become the predator's next meal, attempts to evade the predator's deadly blows. He is waiting to summon. His testicles have shrunk so as to allow greater movement to extend his existence in this world. Patience is the key to the invader's success here. He knows that once a casual forms a swarm, his quarry's testicles will once again engorge, hindering his movement and slowing his mind. He need only wait. The hunt is violent, but brief. Feces is thrown at the body as a show of dominance over his fallen prey. A casual host although physically weak and lacking in the most basic intelligence, has many allies in the wild to call upon in order to form his swarm. In this instance, the host has called upon the aid of blue spirits, or Homo cucis. The local populace have many names for these creatures, many of which are unsavory. The most common being the fucking popo. Blue spirits, much like the common casuals, lack basic intelligence and physical prowess, but in large enough numbers they can often overwhelm an unprepared invader. He must think of a new strategy to take down his prey. Once more, patience is the strategy of the day here. Our invader knows that fighting 3 casuals at once may overwhelm him. He needs to bait them into a trap. And soon enough, a blue spirit takes the bait. The host then tries to relieve his ally. A fatal mistake. As the sword passes through the host's intestines, it causes him to soil himself in his last moments. The blues can only look on as the stench of urine and feces fill the air. So far, we have followed only a soul level 60 invader, a mere adolescent in terms of PvP. We have been extremely privileged to be able to shoot footage of a fully matured invader. He is soul level 90, and his strength and prowess in combat has far exceeded that of his adolescent counterpart. His hunting ground, the frozen and icy tundra of Ariandel, one of the coldest places recorded on Earth, an extreme testament to the tenacity and pervasiveness of life on this Earth. Swarms of casuals still roam freely across the snow-blasted wastes of the painted world, and with them follow the invaders looking for their next meal. As our invader has matured into adulthood, he has acquired many new skills and equipment in order to hunt his prey. Poise and high damage weapons are his tools, and a thirst to feed his motivation. Once the phantom has been dealt with, pressure can be applied to the host. The pressure is so great and in such high intensity that their struggle is fruitless. It serves only to hasten their demise. Only a lucky few are able to survive the invader's onslaught. Another victory for our invader, and another day he does not go hungry. We have observed that an invader must be able to adapt to whatever situation he finds himself in, instilling fear and uncertainty into the casuals as they move across the tundra can be a valuable ally. Equipped with the obscuring ring and great bow, he is able to have the first word. As he moves in and begins the battle, we can see that these are no ordinary casuals. Just as we humans have dominant and recessive genes that dictate our physical characteristics, so do the casuals. Approximately 1 in every 10 are born with a rudimentary understanding of PvP, and as such are not so easily intimidated by the predator. This lack of fear may be a benefit to them in the short term, but not in the long. Momentum and punishing aggressive behavior is yet another tool in the invader's repertoire. As the trio move about the trees and the bracken, exchanging blows and fighting each other's advances, one thing becomes evidently clear. The invader is going to win. His mastery of the environment and his well-honed senses, trained over countless invasions, have prepared him for the worst. This host may have the numbers advantage, but not much else. Another victim to the ruthless invader. It is not unusual during a prolonged session of hunting for an invader to encounter the same casual more than once. An invader's work is never truly done. This time the host has formed a swarm of 3. However, through a mixture of fear and mental development issues, one promptly rolls off a cliff. A lack of spatial awareness and general stupidity is a common trope amongst the casuals, so an invader need only put on an intimidating show of strength in order to reduce the swarm. As with so many things in life, now is not the time to celebrate, but to push the attack. Their numbers may have been depleted, but they are still a threat to our invader. He now faces a new challenge: how to kill the host while evading the surprisingly damaging longbow shots. It is a deadly dance of agility, prediction, and intimidation. The invader must remove the bow-wielding phantom first, before he can feed on the delicious, salty entrails of the host. The invader's attempts to put the phantom into a deadly roll-catch chain are thwarted yet again by the dark sword-wielding host. It is, however, only a matter of time. As the battle wears on, the furious clacking of the host's R1 button can be heard across the snowfields of Ariandel. The invader gains strength and is emboldened by the secretion of salty tears produced by the host, as he realizes that his dark sword is trash, and it is terrible, terrible fashion. As the phantom lies slain at the feet of the invader, the casual host, in an attempt to end his own life, runs headfirst into the cold, unfeeling steel of the Ultra Greatsword. The invader, as you have now seen, is a complex but ultimately passionate creature. His desire to seek out and challenge his limits amongst the day-to-day challenges of survival is something we can all aspire to. Understanding and preserving these wondrous creatures is a lifelong passion for many people, myself included. And by sharing a snapshot of their existence, I wish to share my passion with the world. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your glimpse into life on the Red Planet.